morning, everybody. If you ever want to get busy, then just start doing a podcast or do some voicemails. Then the phone calls come in, people get in your way when you're driving, when you think you have 5 minutes. Start doing something like this, and you will quickly start doing something else. But anyway, we've got a couple minutes here. Just wanted to run down some of the details of what's been going on to the lake here lately. It's been transition time. So finally we got water temps in, I've seen 55 this week. I'm sure if you run like way up to Rainy, or I hear that, up at Deer and way up the river, you've got some warmer water temps. So the river bite is pretty good right now. I've concentrated from the 38 mile marker up to like Proctor in that whole region of the Mid-Lake area. So Bollinger, Cartwright, Pearson, Main Lake pockets up to Proctor. It's kind of been my range this past weekend. I did fish the glaze just a little bit during the BFL, but I mostly was looking for crappie. I didn't want to get into the way of people fishing the BFL. So I closely watched the BFL. I did not get in it. I wasn't really on enough, and there was just too much other stuff going on. And I wanted to get ready for the Mid-Lakes tournament that is April the 5th. So I wanted to shuffle my boat up the river and get it settled in and do some pre-fishing up there. So I stayed out of the BFL. And it was probably a good thing that I did, because you saw the weights. You had like a 20-pound or 22-pound sack, and then a 20, and then a lot of 14 and 13-pound weights. And so I guess that's just the time of the year where we have a lot of males moving up, and you really get locked into them. So up the river, you can really, really catch shorts and then barely keepers on like a wiggle wart or a rock crawler or a square bill. I'm not doing very well on the spinnerbait or chatterbait yet, but if I'm shallow, you can still catch them on a jerkbait, and I really like throwing a wiggle wart, so that's what I've been doing. One day they're on rocky transitions, and then the next day you find them on some flat, little rounded part of the bank that sticks out a little further. There's just kind of fish all over, but it seems like the secondary points are still where I'm catching most of my fish, but there are a lot of fish either in the backs or on transition brush piles that would be in like that 6 to 8 foot range in the middle of the pockets. If you can catch those on a jerkbait, or still the A-rig is still working, and I think it'll still work as long as people throw it. But now people are starting to put it down because other things are working. Now I've tried to catch some fish on a jig, and I just cannot get it done. I don't know. I'm probably just not sticking with it. And we've had a lot of weather. We've had a lot of wind and rain, and so really with all that wind and me just pre-fishing, not really settling down in the area, I have not got the shaky head out or the Ned or finesse jig or big jig. So I've been moving, just fishing, moving, catching one, moving. So we'll see what happens in the next week or so. We're going to get a lot of rain this week. I don't know if they'll hold the lake steady. It's about 6:55 now, and I don't know if they're going to dump it when it starts raining, or if they're going to let that water level come up just a little bit. I think if they just let it come up a tad, it'll make that shallow bite even better. If they start pulling it, they'll probably kind of stay grouped up out on those points and out of the current. So that's one of the key things, is I'm definitely not catching them in the current and not in the cold wind. I have to get away from it. So they're still not wanting that, colder water coming in. They're wanting to get out of it, and I don't blame them, because even like yesterday morning, it was so cold, I was bundled up again, and I did not think that they would bite very good, but they actually did. And I think that was due to nobody else being out there. That they got pounded on Saturday. Sunday wasn't that busy either, and then Monday there was just non-existent. There was nobody out there, so that makes a lot of difference, I think. And the wind changed on Monday, so it really shifted kind of out of the northwest and set fish up a little bit differently. So I got bit in different places than I did on Sunday. But all in all, it's getting better all the time. It's not lights out right now. As you've seen from the weights, those guys caught that one, they've got one or two nice big kickers, and then they've got some solid 3 and 4 pounders. And so you're seeing a lot of 15-inch, 16 fish weighed in with limits from 11 pounds to 14 pounds. So those are probably people catching numbers and mostly males. So as we get into April, we're going to start catching a lot more bigger fish shallow. So that's going to be a lot of fun. This is probably the best time of year to be on Lake the Ozarks. I used to say March was. This year it's fishing pretty good, but not just lights out where you're just crushing 20 on a spinnerbait or something. If some guys are, kudos to them. They're running a lot of water and they're finding them somewhere. But in our little region of the lake, they're not quite on that yet, but that doesn't mean that they won't crush it today or crush it next Saturday. So we'll see what happens. Got to stay on our toes, keep them honest. I'm hoping that we can just throw, those little sneaky crankbaits. I'm not even worried about saying a wigglewort, because I guarantee you that, all these old timers, they've all got them. It's not a secret. And then there'll be people trying to duplicate that bite and not be able to. But because some of these crankbaits that they're just really choking are old school ones that just have that incredible, some kind of magical wigglewort action to them. So, if you find fish in that 8, 9, 10 foot range, I think the rock crawler does a lot better. But a lot of the fish are a lot shallower, 3, 4 feet. So I think the wigglewort shines there. And then some of the square bills, if you got some square bills that can get in that 2 to 3 foot range, that's about perfect. So I can't wait for next weekend. I know we're going to have all this rain. A lot of things are going to change, but it changes all the time. And I wanted to record this. Water temps 52 to 55. Yesterday morning there was some 50 degree waters in the main lake and the wind. I think that's why, one of the main reasons I had to get out of that. Minimal water flow. They're shutting it off and on. And water clarity in that stained 1 to 2 foot visibility max. And if you want a crappie fish right now, it's probably, you pick it. You want a dock fish, you want a cork fish, you want to swim a little swimmer through a school of them. There's fish being caught in 20 foot over brush piles. They're probably sitting in 15. There's fish being caught right off the bank. They're all over the place. It's crappie time right now. I mean, that's all there needs to be said. I mean, if you want to catch crappie right now, you can go in the backs, go on the main lake. It'll be awesome. Hopefully well into May. So I'm thinking all of April is just going to be just incredible. It's one of the best times to be down here. So watch the storms. It's going to be a little bit tricky trying to get around some of the thunderstorms. You don't want to be caught in lightning and taking on a lot of water in your boat or getting wet yourself and getting cold. So be careful and have fun. It's a great time to be out there. We'll see you.